Good morning, Kitty Q, Sprinkled Donut. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yes, it is a classic. It's a classic in this aspect that we know and we get the reference. You ever get those songs that are stuck in your head, and it doesn't matter how many times you hear the song, it just keeps on playing in a loop. It takes up space in your mind over and over again throughout the day. I get those songs stuck in my head, like Mr. Crowley, and it just plays on loop continuously in my head. Good morning, Cement Shoes. I don't know how to get rid of the flag yet. I finally got around to updating my software and everything, and I know the volume is lower because I set it that way. So you may need to turn yours up, your volume on your end up a little bit. I'm going to try to adjust it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The earworm, right? Good morning, Mike Stevens. Ala Akbar. Good morning to you. And God is good. God is all knowing and all powerful. Allah is all knowing and all powerful. All right. So 1 second here. I'm trying to change the volume. You might hear a ding, loud noise. So don't turn your volume up yet, or turn it down. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hopefully that's not too loud now to you. Good morning, Juicy Jules. All right, now to try to get rid of the flag. Yeah. Like I said, I finally got around to updating the damn software for all of this. It's not that I'm lazy, it's that I'm busy. But I finally got around to doing it. So as you can see in the upper right hand corner here on your screen, I now have my actual logo on the screen. It took some time. It used to say the name of the company. Yes, I finally got rid of the and updated it to that point too. The flag's making you dizzy. I'm sorry, Mike. I'm working on it. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go half screen or smaller. There we go. Pat on the back. I did it. I did it. I did it. I did it. I love the flag too. Smith Shoes. It's better than that swirly purple thing that was in the background for the longest time. But I have to play with this because all right, so this is why I'm kind of new to this, why I don't just know, oh, click here and boom, it's gone. They had their original program, then they had their classic, then they had their beta program, and now we're here. So I know everything about it here, and all these iterations between me updating it and doing what I was supposed to do, probably a year and a half ago. I'm getting there. All these different iterations have come along in between then. So, I mean, what used to be over here on one side, click here, boom, it's gone. Volume, click here, volume raises, volume lowers. It's not there anymore. Good morning. Ka, z, not kazap. Ka, z. I hope did everyone have a great Thanksgiving? I really truly hope you did. If you even if you couldn't get together with family and friends, I hope that you were able to, at least to enjoy the day. Do something for yourself. Relax, read a book. I mean, hell, I would have, there's points that during Thanksgiving that I wish I could have done that. I ended up with 34 people here for Thanksgiving. I made uh, three turkeys, two hams, and just a mountain of other food. Then I woke up the next morning, yesterday, at 2 a.m. and started cleaning the house at 2 o'clock in the morning. Of course, my family thinks I'm freaking nuts. They're like, "You didn't even give us a chance to clean, or do anything." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, I get into those moods where I'm like kind of manic, but I can't sleep and I can't just let it go. I have to get it done. So I will go through, like I'll pick a room and I will deep clean the room. I mean, I'm not talking about just putting things away. I'll scrub the floors, the walls. Yeah, I'll scrub the walls and the ceiling. Uh, Call me nuts. Call me, an overachiever, but whatever. I'm on TV. I'm on TV. Are the Salvation Army talking fun people? Wow, 34 people. No, we did not volunteer at the Salvation Army, if that's what you're asking, Juicy Jules. No, these were people that were here in my own home. Um, so to give you a little bit of background on Josie Jules, it's basically me, my wife, my daughter, her friend, and then my mother-in-law. So it starts off with the five of us in that aspect. Yes, my son as well, so six, but he's here physically, but sometimes he just kind of checks out, especially when there's a lot of noise, a lot of excitement room, because he's on the autism spectrum, but his level of and his barriers, because I don't like to use the word disabilities, because everything that may be a roadblock for him is also something that makes it, and moves him further along than other kids. So I don't like to use the word disabilities, but he checks out, and especially when it gets loud or there's more people there, and he doesn't do eye contact with people. He'll glance at your eyes, and then he looks down at the floor, because he takes, when he looks at someone's face, he'll take 10,000 like snapshots in his brain. That's how his brain works. And he looks at people, and then he looks down, and anything longer than a couple of seconds of looking at your face, he's done. All right, so back to the people who are here. We have a couple of couples, husband and wives, who can't afford to do Thanksgiving on their own. And we have some other single people who, maybe they're just getting their feet back on the ground, after COVID, and they can't afford to, or go to a family because they don't have any family in the area, and we bring them over as well. And then we have some neighbors who live in our community, and but you put them all together, and well, what started off as 29 ended up being 34. And then we had 9 people stop by and get to go dinners because they have to work. So, yeah, that was 34 people here, and we had 9 to go dinners on top of it. And I got the super deal at Walmart. There were packages of 3 containers and lids, but they're it's like 2 compartments in the actual container itself. But I got them for 99 cents a piece, and they're made by Glad. But that's what we put the 9 dinners in. So everybody who got a to go dinner got not only a little bit of all the food, but they also got a container of dessert. you know, to go with it. So, and we do it every year, and we'll do it again for Christmas. Not so many people for Christmas though, but right now I think we're at 12 right now, but that number will increase. But all right, so I tend to leave early if noisy at holidays. Yeah, we have some of those Jizzy Joes who pop in, and if it's too loud, too many rambunctious kids, and we don't allow alcohol per se. We do allow some wine, but we pretty much keep it, to a dull roar, especially with the older. Well, I don't want to say older because they're about the same age as me. Um, like the guys who will come in and they'll watch the football games, and while they're waiting for dinner to get done, we don't allow alcohol for them for like because we've had some of those where they've gotten way over. So, became a member. Well, welcome to the membership again, Cement Shoes. Must have had to have renewed it. I made a caramel pecan pie and a chocolate pecan pie. Oh, that sounds good, Kitty Coo. Sounds real good. All right, let's get this morning's going. Today is the 233rd episode of the Saturday morning live stream, formerly called Coffee Brew, but is now called Page Two News. You watched all the Rocky movies? There you go. Oh, that happened to me, Smith Shoes, with Duty Ron. My card expired with Duty Ron, and I actually texted him like, I didn't drop my membership. Oh my god. But okay, there we go. What is Page Two News? Highlights the true crime stories that are often overlooked. I'm trying to. Well, I guess that's not going to do it. The mainstream media, these cases, while lacking in sensational headlines, carry significant importance and profound impacts within their community. Each story featured in Page Two News is supported by at least three verified sources, ensuring the most accurate and reliable information. Thank you for joining us this morning for the Page Two News. And I can't seem to be able to minimize that, so well. Change, turning the faces to the strange. You'll notice this morning that there's a new look, but the same coverage for the most part. Links to every story are now in one place at the end of the stream, as opposed to being at the bottom of every single story that I had before. They're all now conveniently put into one section at the end. No more strange weather or sports. It just wasn't popular enough to stick around. And I've also expanded the entertainment news. Coming in 2025, I'm adding book and movie reviews that are related to the actual stories that I'm talking about and covering. These are not just general books or general movies that are suggested to me that I like or anyone else likes. These are movies or books that are related to the topic. I'll give you an example. Say one of the stories that I'm covering is about Jeffrey Dahmer's family. Not Jeffrey Dahmer per se, but his family. Then there will be a review in that section about a book or movie that has to do with his family, not the actual person itself, if that's what I'm covering. But that's coming in 2025. Also, coming in 2025, the return of Friday Night Live. I'm adding another live show that is for channel members only. This will be the third attempt at the live show just for channel members. It's not going to be every Friday. It's going to be a Friday here or a Friday there. When it comes to the content that will be covered in that Friday Night Live, it could be anything from the cases that I covered that previous week to just a general, chat and, coverage of cases that I covered that week. Also, in 2025, I'll be bringing back little known killers and caught killers, formerly known as how killers were caught. And yes, I know the word caught is spelled with a C, but I had to change it to a K for the purposes of other people are doing multiple different live streams and videos series that are called caught killers. So I changed it to KK because it stands out and it's different from the rest of them. All right. With all that done, it's time to pay back the piper. This one comes to us out of Australia. A former nurse must return the $800,000 that she got from an estate or face a long prison sentence. But it says here, Australian, a former nurse who met and befriended an elderly man must repay the entire estate inheritance, according to the Supreme Court in Australia. After knowing the elderly man, the former nurse, and you can guess on how to pronounce her name right there. That is an actual female's name. All right, not like something weird. But discovered that elderly man had no immediate family. So they sat down with two other nurses who have also been fired and lost their licenses to be a nurse and filled out a will and trust for the man's estate. Only problem is there was family. They thought that he didn't have any immediate family in the area or anybody immediate that was taking care of him or somebody who could, receive the estate. Well, there happened to be an immediate family member that happened to live with him who was taking care of him before he ended up in this nursing center. The total estate was close to $1 million, but there's only $800,000 left. That's his home and some investments. That's what's left. She pretty much spent everything else that this man had. Like 238,000 is what she spent. But she knew the man for 24 days. And after 24 days, she inherited everything with the help of two other nurses who, again, have also been fired and lost their licenses to be nurses there. But she received everything this man had. Next, TikToker stole from Target. Marlena Vella's mom, and she's a mom and lifestyle blogger, is what she calls herself. She's actually a real physical mom, but she's also a mom blogger, a lifestyle blogger. In yet another case of if you commit crimes, don't post it on social media. You did it to brag about doing and do it to brag about it. Marlena may be accused of committing the crimes. That's plural because she's done this before, but it's damn near impossible to deny the video footage of her loading items into her cart and never stopping anywhere near the checkout at the Target store. She slows down at one point just before she exits the store to see if anyone is following her. And then she just speeds up and then goes straight towards her car. And then she puts all the items in the passenger seat of her car. And then she gets in and she live streamed about it and showing off all the items that she had stolen from Target. Now, again, this is not the first time that she's done something stupid like this. She had two other previous, things where she stole from a store and then live streamed about it after she got away with it. Initially, she has since deleted the other streams, but on this last one where she was actually, at a Target store in the parking lot and bragging about how she stole items from Target, She gained 800 subscribers during that actual live stream. I think there was at the high point, I wrote down she had 1,534 people in the live stream, and she gained 800 new subscribers. I mean, but that was the peak of the amount of people who were watching her, talk about the things that she stole. But that's the world we live in. Commit crimes, not a good idea. Commit crimes and post them to social media, not a good idea. But apparently, though, if you commit crimes like this, well, you can get rewarded for it. Again, she gained over 800 new followers doing this. Yeah. All right. Next, grandma got ran over by a reindeer. This is out of Moses Lake, Washington. That's the state that I actually reside in. Here we go again. This is the 28th story just like this in 2024. It is, unfortunately. But a 12-year-old boy stole their grandmother's car and drove over 120 miles, even over the mountain pass. He drove from Issaquah, Washington. That is how you pronounce it, Issaquah. That's a Native American name. But he went from Issaquah, Washington to Moses Lake. And that total trip there is about 140-ish miles. But the boy would end up traveling 161 miles, though. But why did he do this? It was to go shopping, just like the previous three cases. This kid drove over the mountain pass, so he wanted to see his friends and he wanted to go shopping. Again, there's something alluring about the business Target has, because the last case where the little girl stole the car, hit a couple mailboxes. She was doing it because she wanted to go to Target, and she was caught, and not on the way, but she was caught actually at the checkout counter. Well, this little boy, who was 12 years old, not only was he caught, but they ended up having to do a pit maneuver. That's where a cop in a car uses his car to spin another vehicle out and make it crash. But he did this to get this car off of the road, because this 12-year-old kid was all over the damn place. And again, he stole the car from his grandmother. Grandma, you've got to hide your keys better than that. If your 12-year-old grandson can steal a car and go 120 miles over the mountain pass to go shopping and hang out with friends, it's insane. Next, golf is not a contact sport. I know the logo in the top corner is in the way, and I will fix that on the next one. So I'm sorry you can't read the word sport there again. This is out of Palm Beach, Florida. Two golfers got into a fist fight that turned more violent as it progressed. Details on how all this started have not been confirmed, but please, whatever you do not believe the TikTokers and YouTube videos. There are actual videos that I found on YouTube that show an actual pond, and they say that this is the pond where this all happened. That's not even the pond on a golf course. It's a pond in a park. This golf course in Palm Beach, Florida, doesn't have any of the actual structures that are anywhere near the pond. But to each their own. I guess it makes it more believable if you show a pond and say you're actually there. Junior Brucher is accused of beating and strangling, then drowning a 65-year-old Brian Hilter Belter, or how you pronounce that? Belt, at the first hole of the Sandy Hill Crane Golf Course. In a strange turn of events after the fight, Junior stripped naked and just calmly walked away. When the police approached him, He seemed to not know where he was and certainly did not comply. He was tased and arrested and charged with murder. Okay, so to give you more context on how this works out, let me get my sheet out. We do not know if these individuals knew each other or anything. All right, and it's all happened at the first tee of the golf course next to the water. The water would sit to the left-hand side of the first tee block. At this time, it's not clear if the golfers knew were part of the same group. Maybe they were matched up by the clubhouse and said, "Oh, well, we have a threesome here, and you can join them to make it a group of four." We don't know that. It's also not clear if Junior was even there to golf because during this actual assault, Junior had grabbed the other man's golf clubs, irons, out of his bag and started beating him with the golf clubs themselves. Then they fell to the ground. They started rustling around, and as the man laid there in pain, he then went back to the man's bag and grabbed another iron out of his bag and started beating him with that. The other man grabbed the iron from him, and then they got up. They both stood up. Then he knocked him back to Junior, knocked the other man to the ground, Brian, then started striking him. And then the two of them rolled down an little embankment into the pond. And that's where the other man, Brian, would succumb to not only his injuries, but Brian was held under the water and drowned. His body did not immediately float to the top, like again some of the YouTubers have suggested in this case. He actually was in the water, and they didn't see where his body came up. While Junior got out of the water, and then right there on the tee block of hole number one, stripped completely naked, took off everything, socks, pants, underwear, shirt, everything, 100% naked, and then just calmly walked off in the opposite direction of hole number one. So when the police caught up to him, when they finally arrived, Junior was completely naked as a jaybird and didn't seem to know where he was. Again, they do not know if this individual was on drugs, was in a mental health issue. Did these two individuals know each other? Were they paired up by the clubhouse? No one knows. But nothing is official at this point, and they are still investigating the entire crime. All right, entertainment news. Welcome to the wild stories of music, TV, and movies. The land of glitter, glamour, and oops moments stars wish would stay buried. First one is Tanner Austin. Tanner Austin, an up and coming country western star, has a new warrant for his arrest. So I checked on this yesterday, and the warrant has still not been served. They are still looking for Tanner Austin. So if you know where Tanner Austin is, or Tanner, if you hear this, might want to go turn yourself in, buddy. But Tanner Austin was out on bond for theft and fraud charges. Those are allegations that were being charges that were levied against him. But he was out on bond. Like so many other dumbasses, he traveled out of state without asking the court. He traveled from his home from Alabama to go attend the CMA award show. That is the Country Music Award Show in Nashville, Tennessee. And he was again pictured on video of him attending along with the rest of his his band, his backup singers and guitar players, because they were nominated in one of the categories. But Tanner Austin posted all of this in his journey to Facebook. And of course he did. Why the hell wouldn't he do it? Document his entire trip to the CMAs. Well, enjoy your time behind bars. He might actually make a hit song out of this. Because, hey, look, wanted by the law, violated parole, and got arrested. I mean, there's a country song in there somewhere. This entire experience, and who knows, it could end up being a number one hit. on the country charts because of his stupid thing. If he wouldn't have even posted on Facebook, his own Facebook, that he had traveled from Alabama to Tennessee out of state to go attend the CMAs, the likelihood is the court never would even known that he had gone there. He could have had easy to apply like, oh, it wasn't me. It was my band that went. Yeah, they would have saw the video, 8, 9 months or whatever, if down the road, but they wouldn't have known it right away. But he posted it to Facebook of him and his band getting in their vehicles and then driving out of state and then entering into the state of Tennessee. He documented the whole stupid thing. And of course, as the condition of his bond or anyone else who's out on bond, you can't go out of state without telling the court or asking the court for approval. But he did it anyways. That is just dumb. So good luck, Tanner. I'm sure you'll find a country song in all this somewhere. Next, Brian Hughes Warner, aka Marilyn Manson, has dropped his defamation suit against Rachel Wood. Clearly, Marilyn Manson doesn't believe Rachel Wood is one of the beautiful people. It's not worth getting into the she said, he said, fight these two have had publicly. And it's been going on for quite some time. In a nutshell, Marilyn Manson lost the original suit. And then he started to defame her and drag Rachel through the mud. But this past week, he finally decided that he is done with all this and he will pay Mrs. Wood's attorney bill. And the two have agreed not to release any more statements about each other themselves or from their publicist or anyone else associated with them. They will not make any more statements about it all. But Rachel Wood and through her attorney, they got some seriously good jabs in on Marilyn Manson, aka Brian Hugh Warner. But it came down to it. They dragged each other through the damn mud for almost 4.5 years. They've been going at it against each other. Next, Sir Patrick Stewart, aka Jean-Luc Picard from Star Trek, released an update to his life story about growing up in an extremely abusive and physically and mentally abusive household from both of his parents. It's a very interesting read, but in a nutshell, Patrick Stewart goes into how his life would not be what it is today and how he never would have became an actor if it wasn't for him trying and finding a way to get outside of the abusive environment that he lived in to be able to become the actor that he later on became. But most people know Patrick Stewart from his role as Jean-Luc Picard, the captain of the Enterprise on the TV show Star Trek. But he's done a lot more than that. But that's just how people know him. A lot of people. All right. Next is Serial Killer Corner. You will die to get away. This is news from around the world regarding investigations into serial killings. This is not, again, focused just on the United States. There may be more stories about serial killers in the United States, but it is from around the world. In the news, and the new book, Dead End, Inside the Hunt for the I-70 Serial Killer, the writer Robert Grippers says the FBI now believes the serial killings is still at large, meaning the serial killers out there free and probably hunting right now today, or as I actually read this, is from the Indianapolis, Indiana area. And the FBI has been able to narrow down where this serial killer is to a 20-mile radius just off of I-70. Um, this is just one of the many ongoing investigations into the serial killers from around the United States that the FBI does not know the actual name of the actual serial killer, but they are still investigating this actual killer itself. The two main ones are from the I-90 from Montana. So look at the United States from West Coast to East Coast. All right, picture that map. There is a serial killer who has been killing and dumping women on from Idaho into Montana on I-90, and then on the opposite side of going east now on I-90 from Montana into the Dakota, and then again in a third location from the Dakotas going into Minnesota. But they believe that that is one serial killer who may be traveling again from Idaho to Minnesota and is dumping women off of the interstate I-90 in those states. When reached for comment by Russ McQuaid and from me, the FBI said that they're not going to comment on any of these killings, the I-70, the I-90, or the another series of ones that they believe are from Texas going into Oklahoma, in the south there. But they won't talk about it because it's an ongoing investigation at this point. These are, again, just two of the examples of the I-70, I-90 that I'm giving you. They believe that there's either a connection with long-haul trucking, traveling salesmen, or possibly a connection with somebody who may work in the oil industry. For that with because these are dominant actual jobs that are in these areas. Yeah, long haul truck driving, traveling sales, and oil fields. There's a lot of oil fields in the Montana and the western side of it, and on the eastern side going into the Dakotas, and then the upper state part of Minnesota. There's a lot of oil fields, and there's also a lot of mineral excavation, I guess you could call it. A lot of strip mines, silver, copper, lead, platinum, in the upper part of Minnesota. And again, then they believe there might be a connection with those three major industries in who's actually killing these people. It could be somebody who's not a truck driver. It could be somebody who's not in the oil field industry or in sales. Maybe they work for a company that is that deals with one of those. Like, if an oil field, maybe it's somebody who works for the railroad. It could be, instead of being a long haul truck driver, somebody who works for the oil field. Maybe they work in a shipyard. Not in a shipping yard, not ship, like boats. But they don't know at this point. The only statements that they're giving are speculation at this point of like what type of employment this individual may have. All right, so are you looking at a total roundabout number? At this point, for the I-70 and the I-90 serial killers, there are exactly 25 women that are known to have been murdered by a serial killer, counting the I-70 and the I-90 killings alone. 25 victims between the two. Is it broken down 12 and a half and 12 and a half? No. It is broken down at 12 for one, and then the other 13 for the other one. These are only known victims. It doesn't mean that there's not more out there. If you are the I-70 or the I-90 killer, you can reach me at 411nowbusiness@gmail.com. 411nowbusiness@gmail.com. Let me know why you're doing it and if you want to go on a live show. All right. Fake or real? Can you uncover the real news story? It's harder than you might think. I'll present a selection of stories, but only one of them is true. Your challenge is to identify which one. There are, again, three stories. You only have to tell me which one you believe of the three stories is the real one. Story number one, S1. This is out of London, England. A master forger who fooled the musical world in 1989 may have pulled off his best scam yet, planting a previously unknown fake work of Chopin in a reference book in a library prior to his arrest in 1996. This work of music was believed all these years to be real, but now it is in question. Is this the real story, or is this a fake story? Story number two comes to us from Los Angeles, California. More than 3,000 fake Gibson guitars were seized at the customs port this week. All the guitars were fakes on newer styles and rare classics guitars that bring in an absurd amount of money. That's just let you know that an original, one of the first Gibsons do. But all these guitars were shipped in from China and marked on fake invoices and paperwork saying they are actually from Gibson. But if you know anything about Gibson guitars, you know they don't come from China. But that all the invoices and packaging and labeling, everything said they were from Gibson, being shipped to Gibson in the United States. And it really, made the customs and border patrol officers who searched this package, scratch their heads. Was this really from Gibson to Gibson? Was this real? Are these fakes? What's going on here? But that's a huge issue. Regardless of this case, it's a real issue, when it comes to people importing fakes into America. Story number three comes to us from Miami, Florida. Two of the fake paintings believed to be from pop artist Keith Haring recently sold as fakes. They knew they were fakes for $389,250 to a buyer from the United Emirates, the UE. This collector has purchased over 200 known fakes in the past, spending over $3 million on works of art that have a value of less than 500,000. Is this story number three? Is this one the real story? Story number one, story number two? You decide in the comment section which one you think is real. 1, 2, or 3. Excuse me. And good morning, Mel Stiller, Pippadot. Good morning. I'm sorry if I missed anybody else who's in the comment section. Kitty Coo, good morning. Francie, Cement Shoes, good morning. Welcome to this morning's Page 2 News. I don't know who delay. delay. I don't know who that is, but they've been blocked from the stream. I did not see who they are or what they may have said. Story number 1, 2, or 3. One of these stories is real. The other two are fake. And good morning to you as well, Mel. Good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, which one of these stories is real? 1, 2, or 3? The real story is story number 2. Think I'm joking about people sharing these actual stories on the news? Well, here are 2 examples of this week of where these stories were actually shared. NBC News Channel 5 from Dallas, Texas, actually shared the story number 1 on their social media site. They didn't put it on the evening news, they shared it on their actual website. And supposedly, they found actual sources. If you look at story number 1, again, and I will go back and refresh you about story number 1, they actually put a link, a clickable link to the Onion News Network on on the actual story in reference to where this story came from. Story number 1. Story number 3 was actually shared again on the website of WSVN Channel 7 News from Fox TV for story number 3. Again, here's a link to a news outlet that they said, and that when it came to the Fox TV, they shared an actual news channel that is 100% fake on YouTube. I don't want to give away who they are, but 100% of everything on this YouTube channel is 100% false. It's a narrative to make people believe one side of a story is even more, outrageous than it really is. But here's story number 1. Again, about the master forger who made, fake music of Chopin and Joplin, and other artists who, was caught back in the 80s and eventually convicted in 1996. They shared this story on their website, NBC News did, along with a link that went back to the Onion News Network. If you're not familiar with the Onion News Network, it's a satire website, and all of again, everything is fake on there. Story number 3 is about the fake paintings that were sold of to believe they were known to be fake, and then they were sold at an auction of Keith Haring. If you don't know about the work of Keith Haring, the pop artist, if you're ever in the Chicago area, you can see one of Keith Haring's works that he did in the mid 1980s. It's still up today. Go to the Amtrak station in Chicago, Illinois. On the building across the street from the actual platform where you would get on an Amtrak train there in Chicago, downtown Chicago, on the building across the street, not like, one that's like 100, yards or 500 yards away, right across the platform is a giant painting of his radiated babies, and it says, "Crack is whack." That painting has been up on that building since the mid 1980s, I think it was, when he originally painted. Yes, it has been updated and repainted since Keith Haring died to cover over vandalism and everything else, but that painting is still on that building. Crack is whack. But these stories were shared by major news outlets. I don't have an example for every week, but I just thought I would share it with everybody because the comment came up in last week, after the live stream, that I can't find these stories anywhere on the internet. I think you're just making it up. Well, these are in this week's example. You can go to what's called the Wayback Machine, or the Internet Archives, and you can actually see links and these stories on their website from these news outlets, Fox and NBC Channel 5 out of Dallas, Texas, and you can see the story itself. So these are real. I don't make this stuff up. I just can't believe that major news outlet would put out a story and then a link to the Onion News Network. It happens, even to the best of us. People get fooled by actual stories. These are all of the clickable links to everything that I just showed you and talked about. Tanner Austin story, Marilyn Manson, Patrick Stewart, the elderly scam. That's one where the individual got scammed out of, after he died. The nurse took everything they had. Oh, wait a minute, there's more. Here's page 2 of all the links. Shoplifting TikToker, the joyriding 12-year-old. That's the one where the kid stole grandma's car and drove to Moses Lake. And the golfer who was murdered, the serial killer corner story, and the fake Gibson guitars for the fake or real news. On top of that, these are the people that I worked with this week for reference to check on stories to get more of a background. Brian A. is an AP News writer working out of the Seattle, Washington area. Jessica works for Channel 5 News, and she actually shared that story with me and sent me a link to it. Again, that's the one about the fake artwork. And Michael P. is an AP News writer out of the New Mexico area. But when it comes to Associated Press writers, you can be anywhere in the world. If they decide that they want a story and you're available and you want to go write about it or do some kind of coverage on it, they pay you for the story that you write. That's how the AP News Service works these days, which is absolute nothing. But that is page 2 news. Again, everything that I just covered has at least 3 different sources for the information. It's not just a one link that I posted for each one. It would take an exorbitant amount of space to post all of the links to every one of them. I give you one example for each and every case. I don't know why, but since day one when I rescued him 3 months older than he's deathly scared of people, lighting up rain. If you sneeze, you put a hat on, a coat, poor thing. He's a giant cat. I got a cat that's like that. Well, not afraid of people, and noises, but I got a cat that's like, I don't know what the hell his issue is, and he's been with me since he was born. He's scared of everything, and we actually call him Scaredy Cat. Again, tomorrow night is all about mob killers and people who became mob bosses who were killers before them from 1900 to 1950. If you enjoyed this morning's stream, give it a thumbs up. I ask for nothing else except for, someone to, subscribe and give it a thumbs up. It's all I ask for all the work that I do. If you enjoyed this morning's, stream and, how it looks as opposed to a black background and white lettering, let me know. Because the whole thing has changed. It takes a lot of work to put all this together. Thumbs up, thumbs down. It's all an interaction. I just want to know your thoughts on it. The Gibson guitar I have was my grandpa's. It's like $5K a line. I just looked it up. I have 2. I've got 3 guitars that are acoustic guitars that are over there. I've got one is an Epitone, and the other one's a Gibson, and the other one is just a no name. It was made in America in Austin, Texas, country western setup on it, but does not have a manufacturer's name. It was made there. It was like back in the, I think it was like the 1960s, Kitty Q. You could buy like what they called a blank, and you could make and customize it yourself, but it didn't have a manufacturer's name or anything. So that's the third one that I have over there. I know where a Gibson guitar is that I would love to get my hands on. It's an electric. It's crushed velvet. I would love to get my hands on that guitar, but probably never will. As far as I know, it is still in its case and shoved underneath the bed of the person who originally owned it. Well, second person. This one is a melody maker. Yeah, but does Kitty Q play the guitar? You do. Do not. With today's technology, Kitty Q, it's a lot easier to learn. I mean, I could make a video that shows you just how to do the three power chords for just about every 1980s song. There's only three. The same thing got played over and over again in different tones along the way and a different amount of oomph, I guess you could call it, but only three power chords. I don't have fancy guitars from my dad, but I have his order of Portugal, something that's irreplaceable. What is the order of Portugal? Is that like an assignment to an individual, like from the king of Portugal, or I don't know. I'm just guessing, throwing things at the fan and hoping. My grandpa got at a pawn shop in the 1950s. It was $40, I think. There you go. This time I'm putting an alarm in my phone. I'm not missing half of the trivia night because the notification decided not to work. There you go, Smith Shoes. Either that or put a post-it note or something next to the device you watch, the stream on. Because it's every week at the same time. The morning show on Saturday and trivia on Sunday. It's always the same time. I like to keep it you know that way, without changing. Easy to remember. It's always the same time, 8 and 4. When I was little, I could play a little bit of the Yellow Rose of Texas and Yankee Doodle on the guitar. There you go. It's, if you ever have the interest in picking it up, it's not that hard. I mean, they have things out now where you can actually, learn to play the guitar. And my son, he's 8 years old, and he's got it's a smaller guitar for children, but it's an acoustic guitar, and they have little stickers you put on it, and it tells you with a number on it, 1, 2, 3, to play the song, and then you watch the video, and it shows you which strings to play, as you're playing along with it. And he can actually play one song by the musical group 21 Pilots, I think it is the name of the band. I think it's called 21 Pilots. I think it's some kind of number like that, like 16 Pilots or 21 Pilots. But he can play one song, the all way from beginning to the end. But he likes karaoke and singing a lot more. You have to go with two. Ooh, Pippadot. I think you're not on live chat. Oops. Well, two is definitely the right answer, Pippadot. Story number two is definitely the real one. But when it comes to right now. My son's talent, besides being super cute, um, he's a super little handsome man. But I sit behind him in a chair and I watch him edit. He makes videos constantly, making videos, or putting together, props and things to make videos. Super Chat Cat. Good morning. How was my Thanksgiving? Pretty good, Super Chat Cat. It went off with a couple of hiccups here and there, but overall, I would say it was about a 98% success. Putting a percentage to it. Have ate a lot. People ate a lot of food, and everyone was pretty happy overall. They enjoyed it. They liked the flavors and stuff like that. It wasn't too spicy. It wasn't too much, this or that. But and then we sat around afterwards and we played Cards Against Humanity afterwards, and then ate dessert. I think there was like 12, 12 or 13 of us that played Cards Against Humanity at that time, because we took two dining room tables and moved them together. So there was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 12. There were 12 of us who played Cards Against Humanity while we ate pies. I made pumpkin pie. I made peach cobbler pies, and my mother-in-law made apple pies and cherry pies. I think we have like 2 pies left out of everything that we made, and I made nine pies total. Contraband. If y'all have not seen it, I swear it's worth watching. Is that the Peppadot Contraband? Is that the one that's for with Border Patrol? People who they come into airports and stuff like that, and they go through their packages and stuff like that, or at the mail room. Good morning, Miss K. How are you doing, Miss K? I hope you are doing good. They catch people smuggling everything you can imagine in every way you can imagine. It's so good. I think I've seen some episodes of that. But overall, it was Super Chat Cat. I enjoyed it. My family enjoyed it, and all of our guests enjoyed it. They didn't like the idea that, and we live in a housing development, an HOA, and you're only allowed 2 cars on the street, and we could put 4 cars in our driveway. Uh, I couldn't put them in. You can't park in the other one because it's taken up by my camper and my other vehicles. But you can put 4 cars in one and 2 in the street. That's only 6. Out of all the people, then after that, you have to park up at the front by the clubhouse, and then we had to shuttle people back and forth, which is good because my sister has one of those what they call them, Sprinter vans. It's made by Dodge, so we use that to drive people back and forth between the house and the clubhouse, which is not that far. It's probably about 4 blocks, like city blocks, but still, move people back and forth between. It's 4 a.m. where Miss K is. Wow. Well, thank you for joining us at 4 o'clock in the morning, Miss K. Where Kitiku is, it's 12. So that means that Kitiku has got to be Eastern. Eastern time zone, right? Because it's 9, 10, 11, 12, 3 hours. So that's, it means that Kitty in the Eastern time zone. If she's in, well, we know Kitty in the United States, but so that means every time we do trivia, ladies and gentlemen, Kitty is 3 hours ahead. So we start at 4. It's 7 o'clock where Kitty is. Yes, Eastern here. Pimpicott, it's 11:05, so it's 2 hours. That means that you're either Central or Mountain, right? So that would be 2 hours because it goes from West Coast to East Coast. Isn't that strange? The entire time zone thing was set up by the railroads and the railroad barons. The entire thing was so that way they could fudge the times on how on time trains were. It's 4 a.m. Sunday. Oh, so you're more than just wow, 4 a.m. Sunday. So you're over the date line. Well, Miss K, thank you anyways for being here with us, especially at 4 o'clock in the morning. You're up for the day, says Miss K. Excuse me. Yeah, every time I move it gets lighter. Every time I move across it. Sorry, I'm just messing around with the screen. If you see that on your end, I'm sorry. Just woke up and Will, you were on works out. Great. I was on. Oh, cool. How did little man do with all those people over? Is it hard for him to be in crowds? Oh, yes. Um, I'll give you a little bit of a breakdown. I was talking about this earlier. Super chat cat. My son, when it's not that there are people that necessarily bother him, it's the overstimulation of noise, people talking, voices. He has a huge issue with when it comes to lights and noise. Um, and a lot of people really get upset when he doesn't make eye contact or look at them in the face, especially when greeting him. He does. It's so quick. You have to really pay attention to what he's doing. And he'll look at someone and it's like a split second. He looks at you and then looks down at the ground, floor. Because in his mind, the way it works is he looks at your face and it's like it takes like 10,000 snapshots of your eyes, your nose, your face, your chin, your hair. And if he looks at you for longer than that, he gets overstimulated and then he wants to shut down, and get away. But with the people who came over, we have noise canceling headphones for him. So he put those on, and he's able to zone out a lot of the noise around him. So that's how we dealt with it. This isn't our first rodeo with him, but as time goes on, we're slowly filling in our how to parent a child with autism. So, excuse me. Darn, Smith. I want you to see it. You don't have either one of what networks? It's not letting you type many words. I don't know why, Pippadot. The only thing that I have restricted from my streams is links to any kind of link, and then there are certain homophobic and racial slang words that people use that are blocked. But I highly doubt that you're typing any of those in. The only people who are allowed to put actual links in my comment section are my moderators and people who, I have moderators and then I have people who are approved to post links. But I highly doubt you're doing that either. Well, have you ever watched Contraband Seized at the Border? Yes, Pippadon. I do believe I've seen that show in the past. If I have seen it, it would most likely be on YouTube. But then again, there are other shows that are like that too. There's Border Patrol, along with it, where it's like airplanes, packages that are being sent through the mail, cargo ships, stuff like that, and containers. That's like I think that's on the show Border Patrol. But I don't watch these things, purposely. But I've seen them on YouTube. They come up in the suggestions, and now that we're talking about it, it'll come up in my YouTube suggestions soon, if not today, right now. I highly doubt you're doing anything, Pippadot, that's wrong. I don't know why it's not letting you do it. I'm just giving you an example of what is blocked. And like I said, I don't think that you're doing anything wrong. I don't know why it's blocking you from typing certain words. So, like I said, I don't think you personally are doing anything wrong. It's got to be something either on YouTube's end, or something, but it's not me, it's not you, who set up the restrictions. I watch them when it comes to like, weekly, monthly. I watch a lot of stuff that most people would probably find boring. I watch a lot of heavy machinery, repairs and revival. Um, Huge fan of the YouTube channel Diesel Creek, but he does a little bit of everything from he goes to auctions and buys things, and then he fixes them up. Some things he keeps, some things he flips. And then I watch auto mechanic like repair channels like Pole Barn Garage. Dalton. I get a kick out of Dalton. It's the creator behind the channel, Pole Barn Garage. And then I watch, Vice Grip Garage and stuff like that. And then on the other side of me, I watch a lot of Matt character and Demolition Ranch. And he's actually a unique man. He also has a merch supply company, and then he's a veterinarian on top of it all. But a lot of his content on Demolition Ranch and off the ranch and stuff like that are he bought a formerly defunct amusement park, I guess you could call it, because they had a little bit of everything at one point over the years, but he slowly turned it into a resort, with an Airbnb, kind of thing. But now they're digging out, like trying to find caves. So you never know what you're going to see on that channel. And the other thing that I watched a lot about online, especially on YouTube, because I don't watch TV, is like other channels that people who subscribe to me, and the content can be all over the place, everything from crocheting, and knitting to cooking videos, tutorials, stuff like that. I mean, definitely in each individual what they actually are making content about. If they subscribe to me and I see their name, it comes up like, oh, look, here's a new subscriber, and they have a channel, or they've made videos within the last 6 months, and this, maybe it's about their dog or their grandson or granddaughter or whatever it might be, and I watch it, to see what other people are doing. YouTube has occasionally conniption fits. Oh, that's true. Trust me. I know that, Mel. Last week, I could not get my stream key to work. It didn't matter. YouTube just would not recognize it at all. We went through everything over and over and over again with it, checking everything, and nothing on my end was the issue. It was all YouTube. But that was the reason why I also have updated. And you see up here in the corner my actual logo now instead of the name of the Restream, which is the software that I use. But went through the entire thing from each and every program, deleted all of the past. We downloaded it to an external drive, and then we went through each and every program that I was using, to stream, to make content, everything, and made sure that everything on my end was working perfectly fine. Because there's nothing that you all saw just how annoying that was for me to do trivia night by, well, all right, let me read off this piece of paper here. One of the questions that's on the trivia: which mob boss, this is for tomorrow, which mob boss helped establish the Las Vegas as a gambling hub? Do you know the answer to that one? Which mob boss helped establish Las Vegas as a gambling hub? It's one of the questions that'll be on tomorrow night's trivia. Or it's on my list. I don't know if I actually used that particular question, but I do. This is all I do, though. I mean, you got to know as much as you can, Miss K. I don't think that I am an expert at YouTube by any means after 6 years, but I definitely know a lot more about YouTube and their ins and outs and how to play nice with their algorithm, how to get your ass, shadow banned. I'm an expert at that. I can tell you how to get shadow banned really quick. I remember, Will. Yeah. I am an expert on how not to play nice with YouTube. I've been trying though. Knock on wood. 2025 is going to be my year. I'm going to play nice with YouTube all year long. And then I'm going to look back and see, was 2025 better for me business wise and growth wise, as opposed to 2023, where I didn't play nice with YouTube at all. We'll see. We'll see how it works out. Miss K is going with Bugsy, and you are correct, Miss K. Bugsy Siegel helped the mob establish Las Vegas as a gambling hub. And Mel there with a couple of seconds later with the correct answer as well. Bugsy. Y'all can't see this desk, in front of me here, but I got paperwork everywhere. This thing is a complete mess. I have little scraps of paper, like receipts that I have notes written on. The inner workings of this brain. Leslie would make an interesting trivia night all on his own. He would, Cement Shoes. Let's see. Do I have another question that I didn't use about Bugsy? These ones here, I don't know if I ever used them. I'll give you another one. It's not about Bugsy though. Who ordered the hit on Dutch Schultz in 1935? Who ordered the hit? That hit in the mob is the contract to kill someone. That is a hit. But who ordered the hit on Dutch Schultz in 1935? This man would eventually go on to work directly with Mussolini. There's a hint. Chandler. Get out the Cement Shoes page. That's what I'm looking up the. Turning to the right page. I should have put like a tab on here. Put a tamarind. All right, Cement Shoes. Ah! Drop my pen. Chandler. All right. Duly noted, Cement Shoes. Thank you for the suggestion. Cement Shoes is going with Capone. Mel Bugsy. Oh, wait. Cement Shoes, changes to Lucky Luciano. And you would be correct, Cement Shoes. Lucky Luciano is in the commission, the group of hired contract killers, the commission, is who he put the contract out to kill Dutch Schultz in 1935. The NCS. I don't think that these questions are on my trivia, because when it comes to the ones that are on there, see how those ones are yellow highlighted? Those are that's how I mark them as I fill out the trivia thing for Sunday. It's like, okay, I put that question. That way I don't go back and ask it again. I'll give you one more. What Chicago mobster was responsible for organizing the Outfit? And that's the name of the group, the Outfit, in the 1920s. This individual has at least 29 murders to their own name as they were rising up through the ranks of the actual Chicago mob. They killed 29 individuals. But what individual mobster was responsible for organizing the Outfit? Sicilian guy says Mel. That could be a lot of them. Sicilian. When it comes to The original mob, a lot of the mob was Sicilian. Does anyone know? Is there some brand new news on D.D. Cooper? Well, Pippadot and Kitiku, you are correct. It's Johnny Tiro. Johnny Tiro, Kitiku. All right, now to Pippadot's question: is there anything new about the D.D. Cooper? 2 years ago, near, I think it was near, I want to say Moses Lake, Washington, but I'm probably wrong on the actual geographic location of like a city that's closest to it. But 2 years ago, they found the parachute that D.D. Cooper actually used. It was found in a like along a river bank, like mud area, like low lying area. But they found the actual parachute. That was 2 years ago. Now they have been trying to test the cords, like for the parachute, for forensically for DNA. As far as I've read up on this a little bit, but that's where the newest thing about D.D. Cooper that I'm aware of. There's been a lot of speculation of about who the identity is of D.D. Cooper, and they know the name is fake, but D.D. Cooper. But there have been some people who have, on their deathbed confessions have said that they were D.D. Cooper, and there have been people that they've also speculated are D.D. Cooper because they match, kind of like the likeness of what D.D. Cooper would have looked like back then. But that's not who you thought. Gayla, good morning, Gayla. Gayla. You know when I got one of the guests that came over to my house on Thanksgiving brought me this. I'm gonna slowly bring it up. Look at it. That says Snickerdoodle. It's Snickerdoodle popcorn. That's the closest I'm getting to Snickerdoodles. Snickerdoodle popcorn. They brought me a whole bunch of them. That's just one bag of like different popcorns. Just visiting. Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. Well, thank you, Sal. I hope you had a great one as well. Hope you have a terrific week ahead. And tomorrow night we got trivia. Tomorrow night, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But yeah, I think they brought like 8 bags of popcorn. It might have been less than that, but there were a whole bunch of different ones. And then they brought one of those big old tins that's got like 3 or 4 different flavors in it. Is it good? Oh yeah, it's really good. This stuff, really good. I think a Snickerdoodle and then the white cheddar popcorn are my 2 favorites out of all the ones that I've tried so far. I haven't tried all of them, but popcorn looks yummy. Who is trivia about? Pippadot. It's about Mob. Murder Incorporated is what it's called. It's all about mobsters who killed between 1900 and 1950. I narrowed it down so we're not looking at the original necessarily. It's a Sicilian mob, that came into New York and in Boston, Massachusetts, and we're not looking at the ones that are much later. I did throw in a couple of that are past the 1950s, particularly because of cement shoes. You know who I'm talking about, cement. But I did throw in, at least one, I believe, question just for cement shoes, and I even put cement shoes in the question too. So there's no way that cement shoes is not going to get at least one question correct. They're going to get at least that one. I would have opened every bag and tried it. Yeah, you kitty Q. I love white cheddar popcorn. I mean, this stuff is great. My niece works there, and she brought all these different popcorns for everybody to try. It's a great company. I will bake those cookies for your big birthday party in 2 weeks. There you go. In 2 weeks, is it Gala's birthday? Well, happy birthday, Gala. In 2 weeks. This is going to be a tough one for me. Says Pippadot. For the mob, I tried to narrow it down to, a timeline between 1900 and 1950 as much as I could. But could have made it a lot harder just by saying mob killers. These are all people who have committed murder, a lot of murders. You'll do a super tomorrow. Well, I can guarantee you, Cement Shoes is going to know the one that I put Cement Shoes in. But it's definitely out of the 1950s, so past the 1950s, a lot closer to today than anything else in the trivia. But I used to like watching Mob Wives. Oh, that was a good show. I remember that. I think that was like on A&E or something like that, or one of those channels back when I used to watch television. Oh, you're welcome, Gayla. I hope that this birthday is just one of many, 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 many more to come. I have a crazy cat. If I talk to someone else, she'll bite my ankles. That is a crazy cat. And the fin. I'm late. Hope I didn't miss much. Well, the fin. I'm about to wrap up this morning's stream, and, but you can always watch in rewind the entire thing. It's always on YouTube. There's an entire catalog, 233 episodes of the morning show. But ladies and gentlemen, like I said, I'm going to wrap up this morning's live stream here, and I want to remind everyone again: tomorrow night we do live trivia, 20 multiple choice questions that are all displayed on 20 multiple choice answers to each question that are on the screen. So each question, I read the question, and then there are 4 possible answers: A, B, C, or D, or E for other. With the suggestion of Cement Shoes, I no longer will be using E as a possible answer. So now all of the answers for trivia are A, B, C, or D. They will never be E ever again. It was a 2-week trial, but apparently that didn't work out the way that I was hoping it would be. But with the suggestion from Cement Shoes, you will no longer find E as a possible answer. But it is there for comical relief. So you can put in whatever you want as E. Who is it about? The trivia tomorrow night is about mob killers from 1900 through 1950, with the exception of one question, which you'll find actually has Cement Shoes in it. Is one of the questions. So, yeah, mob killers from 1900 through 1950 is for your joke answers. Yes, you can put whatever you want as E. The 2 weeks that I ran that idea, and used it, Cement Shoes, each and every week, instead of people answering E as the comical answer, I got a whole lot more of F. F as a possible answer. But hey, you got to keep on trying. If you don't try to make it better and more exciting, you're going to fail. But All right, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, I gotta take off this morning. Yeah, and I gotta go feed the family because they're getting up right now. But anyways, you all have a great day today, and I hope to see you all again 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 5 o'clock Mountain Central, and that is 7 o'clock on the East Coast of the United States. So if it is 4 o'clock in the morning where Miss Kate is, so that'd be what, way later. I couldn't even figure that out. But bye. You all have a great day. We'll see.